Hello, 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 hello. It is day 11 of the Diary of a Multi-Faceted Mama. Welcome to day 11 of the series of reflections of this social experiment / personal challenge vlog that I am doing here. Thanks for joining me along the journey, whether this is the first diary entry you are checking out or the 10th, 5th, 11th, whatever the case may be for you. I'm glad that you're here. You were pulled into this video for a reason. So, oh my gosh, today, y'all. The day's not over yet. I still have another client session and dinner and stuff to make for the kids and bedtime and all that stuff. But I have a few minutes before my next session, a few minutes where I can close my office door while my mom is hanging out with the kids. And so I wanted to do this video entry now. It's been a really great day. Not for any one big major reason besides I've just been feeling good. I woke up rested this morning, which if you have an infant at home know is one amazing feat, especially during this 4-month regression. Her naps aren't going so great every day right now, but she did sleep fairly decent last night. We just got good sleep, her and I. So I woke up rested and that was amazing. Started off really appreciating that. So that's definitely a big gratitude, right? And I got to have a really cool meeting with another entrepreneur who he and I were just connecting for face-to-face on video for the first time. And the energy was just really high, and we got to talk about our passions and our purpose, and there was a lot of alignment there, even though we do a little bit of different things in a little bit of a different way. And it really kind of got my energy and my momentum flowing even higher around what I've been kind of reflecting back in this vlog series in different ways throughout the days of my passion and purpose is so important to me personally and professionally. And when I get to talk about it, just real, raw, open, I feel so lit up from the inside out. And I felt that in this conversation today. And then I got to have some great client sessions, some challenging client sessions. Got to take my breaks like I do to nurse the baby, which are always nice to be able to just have and spend time with her. And got to talk with my mom a little bit since she's here on this day for a bit to watch the baby so I can do some work. And I just feel such deep gratitude and such high energy for this lifestyle I've created. I feel so grateful for it. My husband's out of the house today. He goes into the office today, and so there's a different kind of sereneness in the house today. There's less people in it than is typical, and I just have been feeling high energy and really, really, really grateful today. So some of the passion and purpose that has been really fuel for me, talking about conversations around safety. Safety as a topic is something that comes up for me in the work that I do quite often. And often when I bring safety up or notice that there is a safety need, the person on the other end of that inquiry is okay, I feel safe, unless there was a significant or overt trauma that they're aware of, that they've experienced, to give them a reason to believe that they don't feel safe. They generally are I feel safe. I'm not I have a house. I've got what I need. I'm safe. But the reality is that when we dig into that, most people don't feel safe to be themselves. Most people do feel like they need to behave a certain way or do a certain thing, or not behave a certain way or not do or say a certain thing, because it won't be accepted for them to just be who they are in certain circles of their life and of their world. And that is something that leaves someone feeling unsafe to fully express themselves, unsafe to fully be themselves. And that is the world that we live in, where the majority of people are walking around feeling unsafe. And when we're not feeling safe, how do we react, right? Like, we want to protect ourselves, we want to defend ourselves. So how's this relevant to my diary entry today? Well, it gives me an opportunity to really think about the ways that I haven't felt safe in life, right? And I've done work around this before, but I'm just reminded of how important it is again and again and again to have these conversations of, I didn't feel safe to be myself, to fully express myself, because I didn't feel like I fit into any of the socially prescribed boxes that we're supposed to fit into. And so to me, my interpretation of that, especially growing up throughout my child rearing years, was like, it's not safe to be me. Not unless I'm doing something for someone else, or, whatever the case may be. So not feeling safe, it matters, And even if that makes sense to you, like conceptually for yourself, it matters for us, I think, to understand that that means that other people often don't feel safe too. And so it puts things in perspective for me. Again, something I've done many, many times. It's always helpful to have this really potent reminder that if my partner isn't feeling safe and being able to express himself with me, then it makes sense, right? Like, why his defense mechanisms are getting amped up. It's not an excuse to mistreat anyone, but there's a level of awareness, a level of better understanding about why that might be happening. And if I'm reacting in a certain way, being able to ask myself, what is it that I'm not feeling safe about right now? If my kids aren't listening and I'm getting frustrated, am I just getting frustrated just because I want them to listen? Or is it going a little bit deeper than that? Especially if it's happening a lot. Is it a deeper level of not really feeling safe in expressing my needs and my boundaries clearly enough and consistently enough for them to be respected? Safety is something that I think would benefit all of us to better understand. But how can we better understand it if it's so taboo to talk about, right? And so the sense of safety, it's one that I'm really wanting to bring to the forefront of my conversations with folks more and more outside of sessions. It's pretty powerful stuff, And if we're not feeling safe enough to be ourselves, to fully be ourselves, then the question might be, well, then what's the remedy to that? Well, we have, and then a lot of people go to, well, we need to make them change their behavior so I feel safe. But that's actually not the remedy we have the most control over. The one that we have the most control over is within ourselves, What do I choose to believe? And to focus on faith, purpose, hope, this knowing that I have that I'm not in this alone. I have access to a source that has created life, and I can tap into that power, but only when I'm really intentionally sitting with myself and reflecting, like I'm asking myself to do here in these diary entries, is to just sit and reflect. So the challenge that I would say is coming up as I'm talking right now in my reflections is wanting to very coherently express all of this deep knowing and wisdom and experience that I have personally and professionally in a way that allows others to hear it. Not hear it like me convincing them of anything, but hear it like it being meaningful to them in some way. In whatever way it needs to be meaningful to them, And that's an area where I want to continue to grow in. I've been really, really, really feeling like on fire recently with just as I, take time. It doesn't need to be a ton of time, just moments of time at certain parts of the day that I just get intentional about to really reflect on what I want to share with the world, and then like letting myself feel that and share that, or create something that will later allow me to share that in like a cohesive way. I feel like I've been really on fire with that lately, and that has felt really good. This morning in particular, I was like boom, 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 like, oh, it felt so good. And I want to continue to grow in that area. And I want that to not just be reflected more and more and more through my, the work that I show the world, through inspiration, through education, through mentorship, through my psychotherapy services, but also just through how I show up as mom and as human, as woman. And so one of the things that I have been doing is kind of dipping my feet in different opportunities in the community that we've moved to see where I might be able to make more connections so that I can, just experience more meaningful relationships in a variety of settings. I was always a social butterfly for most of my life. And in recent years, things have shifted. And I think that there's a time and a season for that. And I'm grateful for that. I needed that shift for a variety of reasons. And now I'm ready, have been ready to shift back into an increased social interaction in a very different way than I had before. So it's not as the same as before, but I want to do more of that, and I'm still looking, still feeling out, my place in all of that, what feels right, what feels good. Is it going to be at a church like it used to be? I don't know, because it's not religion that I'm a fan of. I'm not really a fan of religion at all at this point in my life. But faith, source, soul, spirit, that like life force energy, that I'm a fan of. That's life changing. That's life enhancing. That's worth sharing. That's worth teaching about, right? So in some ways I feel like I'm a little bit all over the place in this diary entry, but in other ways it feels very all connected to me. So if this resonates with you at all, I encourage you to explore whatever's coming up for you, because Look, none of us are ever going to have the answers to everything all the time. It's just not possible. But sitting down and just reflecting and kind of letting the ball loose, maybe it ping pongs all over the place for a little bit, it does help clarify things if you stick with it and if you at least have some kind of structure, you know. So I think that's all for now. I'm going to allow myself to explore this a little bit more and see where it takes me after my next client call, or maybe later on tonight, and maybe I'll have some more to share in the next day's reflection. Until next time, y'all.